My dear people of the moor, well, two main things for you this weekend. Three. Tailgate is going on starting at 3:30 today at Swamp Cabbage Brewery. So we'll be tailgating for the Texas A&M game. Come on out. It'll be a good time. They'll have lots of food. They went to purchase all the stuff earlier. So it'll be a good time out there. A lot of times I try and come over after the confessions and vigil, but now I have learned that once they cut those roads off, it is extremely difficult to get the swamp cabbage. So you'll be in good hands with our tailgate team over there. Other things. This weekend is the beginning of our Hungry for More series. You know, each semester we have the series of three talks, one in the fall and one in the spring. And so this time, since this is one of the Eucharistic revival years, we've themed all the talks on something to do with the Eucharist. So Father Andrew Frimmel, the chaplain for the College of Charleston, will be the lead this weekend, giving one on the real presence and relativism. As always, the Hungry for More talk will happen at 6:45-ish after Sunday supper. So after the Sunday supper, he'll be here to give the talk in the chapel. We will stream it as well for those who may not be able to come and see. So we encourage everybody to come. I mean, this is the year to really focus on what is the centerpieces of our faith. So let's take the year, let's sit and listen, let's learn. It'll be a lot of good stuff. 3 talks in a row. So it should be fun. Not 3 talks in a row this weekend. You know, Father Frimmel, then Father Wilson the week after that, and then Father Gray the week after that. Principally today, and this is going to end up being another video as well, where we kind of discuss how the finances of Thomas More work. But I wanted to take this opportunity. We've changed the structure of the numbers in the bulletin. So in the bulletin, we've added a little more information. All the information that I wanted, we hadn't put out there yet. But now we've kind of found a way in which we do that. The way that our finances work at St. Thomas More is, back in the day, everything that, first, think of us as Thomas More. You know, Thomas More exists. It's what we call a personal parish. You know, there are territorial parishes and there are personal parishes. Personal parishes do not have territory. So like St. Joe's, St. Peter's, they have a territory, parish boundaries, that kind of thing. St. Thomas More does not. It's a personal parish that exists for a particular purpose, and that is campus ministry. That's its purpose. So, for example, if campus ministry were pulled from Thomas More and given to somewhere else, it wouldn't be worth it for the diocese to sustain Thomas More, because one, that's the purpose of which it exists, and then two, if you're going to pull campus ministry from it, then other parishes could divide, and it would be a better use of resources and priests to be able to move them around. But we exist for this purpose, and it's a thriving community, in general. So when it comes to the finances of that, normally, like if that's the purpose, then all the finances would be seen in that light, that everything comes in as in service of the mission, which is campus ministry. Currently, there's a discussion in the diocese, so we're working on that of what does the diocese see as campus ministry, and us as general. So when money comes into a normal parish, there's the offertory, so that's what's given, whether it's in cash or check or whatever it is, and the diocese is supported. Each parish supports the diocese by giving it 10% of what it brings in. So each of the parishes in the diocese, they give the 10%. But if there's a diocesan ministry, so for example, if you were to give to the vocations office, like if you were to give it, because that's a diocesan sponsored deal, it's the diocesan responsibility, there wouldn't be a 10%. Or if you were to give to youth and young adult or whatever it is, there's no 10%. And so the parishes give their 10. But since we're campus ministry, which is a diocesan ministry, what we had to work out with the diocese is that should not be across the country. That's normally the case if it's a diocesan ministry, that it's not, it doesn't incur that 10%. So originally everything, so when we got here, would all come into the offertory, And then, we support the diocese with the 10%, even though we exist for campus ministry. Now what we set up with the diocese is that you have campus ministry and you have offertory. So there's a fund that is not assessed when people designate, like, hey, I give this in my purpose, if it's families who are visiting or parents that are visiting, or alumni who are giving for campus ministry, they're giving it for that designated purpose. And anytime it's designated like that for campus ministry, it's not assessed by the diocese. So now we have the general fund, so offertory, so all cash goes into offertory, and then if it's a person, like a permanent parishioner, if there's somebody that's part of our community that has said, hey, yeah, we're here, we're registered with you. If something comes in labeled from them, if it's not designated to campus ministry, it goes into offertory. So everything that is given, that is not given by that group of permanent parishioners, goes into the campus ministry fund. So now, offertory and campus ministry fund. What we also have, just to give you a heads up, we have the St. Francis Xavier Mission Fund. So it was a fund that was a community member that was very generous, donated a large sum of money, and that now, the Francis Xavier Mission Pilgrimage Retreat, anything that falls in that area, we can scholarship or pull out of that fund. And that fund falls under campus ministry. So it too is not assessed. So anything that's given, like if you were to write a check and say, hey, this is the Thomas More, and in the memo you put, the Francis Xavier Fund or Mission Fund or whatever it is, it would go into that fund and it would be 100% St. Thomas More. The same thing if I write a check and I put campus ministry in the memo, that goes to the campus ministry fund and it's 100% for campus ministry. In the same way, the building fund, the land and build fund, that's another fund that's there. It's not offertory, so it's not assessed. So now you have the campus ministry fund with the sublet of the missions, and you have the land fund, the build fund, which is also completely 100% everything you give sticks for that designated purpose. One of these days, we'll take time and make a video that way you can kind of see exactly the pots, but just think of it as different pots now. Those are the pots that exist, the barrels, whatever, pots, barrels, whatever, that exist where the money goes, and whether it's assessed by the diocese, whether we support the diocese from that fund or not. All that to say, when you look in the bulletin this weekend, you'll have a weekly offertory. So we'll have a weekly offertory. So this is what comes in cash or what comes in from the people that we know are registered with us. And then you have weekly campus ministry donations. So these are things that come into us not from within that group, parents, alumni, community members, whatever it is, that have campus ministry. So now that's a line that we add those two together, and now that's our new weekly total. Because in the weeks past, it looks like we were 10,000 in the red, but that's just from offertory. It's not counting the campus ministry stuff that comes in, which is growing time over time. And so now you have offertory, campus ministry, weekly total, and then the weekly needed. So this year, Christmas falls on a Sunday. So one of the extra times that we normally bring in funding for the church kind of went away. So there are less weeks, which means the weekly needed has gone up. And so then we have, what's the difference? Are we in the red or in the black? And at the end, we have year-to-date total, then the year-to-date needed, and then kind of the year-to-date, are we in the red or black? So that's what is there now in the bulletin. So that's the way we're going to structure it for a while. I think that's the best way until we kind of figure out what the diocese to be able just to put it all into one and say, listen, we're campus ministry. Like, this is why we exist. We will keep those offertory and campus ministry funds separate, but then you'll be able to see them and see that we're not in the red, but it'll be more specific to you and helpful to you. So I know that's a longer explanation, but I wanted you to see that. When you open the bulletin, you're going to see a big change from the red that was portrayed before that has now flipped even more in the other direction into black once you see how much has come in through campus ministry donations. If you ever have any questions about that, feel free to come and ask Pam or Katie or myself. Each year we're getting more detailed in the budget. That way we can see exactly where the money's going and how we move about. But the diocese still subsidizes us heavily. they take care of the campus ministry, the campus minister. Now they pay for Focus. They pay for 4 of the 5 Focus missionaries. And they also give a programming subsidy. So there's still, without the diocese, we would be in much more difficult straits. But right now, the program is growing such that the subsidy, hopefully over time, will be able to reduce. And then Thomas More will be, self-sustaining in the campus ministry. So that's where our goal in the days to come, or the years to come, are to really build throughout the year. Okay, these are the years we make our appeals to families and alumni and parishioners and community members, and we come together and we fundraise each year in standard events such that that amount of money covers the needs for campus ministry here at the University of South Carolina. And the ball has begun to roll, and we're very excited about it. All right, hope you have a good Sunday. Hope you bore with the numbers, but if you have any questions on that in the future, please let us know. See ya.